What's going on, everyone? It's Mike back again and again. I'm here with Andy from the Roma Press. I'll make sure all the links are in the description, so make sure you go and check them out. Andy was brilliant last week, talking about how Dan Friedkin will change our lives fundamentally and stop us being so stressed about everything. There's a lot of Everton fans panicking about the fact that there's no announcement, so don't worry about that. These things take time. Lots of things happen behind the scenes, and Andy's just said that himself. I mean, we know how these things work, and and deals are starting to happen at Everton Football Club. So we can be a little bit calm, guys. Let's be chill. But Andy, thank you for coming on. I wanted to pick your brains about Eduardo Bove. We've been linked with him for £20 million. What can you tell us?
I can tell you that he was the captain of our youth team for a number of years. He's a homegrown product, Roman bred, and dedicated to the team. Was mostly brought up by Jose Mourinho, so that's when he first found his minutes as a senior player, with Mourinho as the coach of Roma, and and he's had a weird trajectory at Roma because he's only 22 years of age. He had a massive goal for Roma last year in the semifinal against Bayer Leverkusen. Essentially, it was that goal which allowed Roma to advance to the Europa League final against Sevilla. And since then he's had a number of ups and downs. But if you were to ask me which player at Roma would fit best in the Premier League, I would definitely point to Bove.
Right. So what's so good about him then in terms of the Premier League? Why would he fit?
I would say, listen, Mourinho himself, you can question Mourinho about a lot of things, but I think he sometimes he nails perfectly a player's character. And when he was asked about Bove, he defined him with the term cane malato, which in Italian means sick dog, because of how relentless he is on the pitch. By defining him as a sick dog, what he meant was Bove is the kind of player who never gets tired of chasing the opponent up and down the pitch. And that is, I think, why he's had so many ups and downs at Roma, despite there being quality in him, is because if he lacks in something is playmaking. He's not a playmaker, at least not now. Right now, he's the kind of midfielder whom you turn to when you need someone to work his ass off on the pitch for 90 minutes chasing opponents left and right. That's what he does. You tell him to man mark an opponent, he'll be pressuring that opponent from the first until the very last minute. I think there is a huge potential that is still there, unexplored. For example, I think this is a player who is perfectly capable of scoring, and that's why I say he's a player that I think fits in the English Premier League because he reads the action really well. He knows how to cut into the penalty box. He knows how to find himself in positions to score the ball. At Roma, it hasn't happened enough because of the players that Roma have, such as Lorenzo Pellegrini and Paulo Dybala. Essentially two midfielders who love the sight of the frame of the goal. Bove was always restrained at Roma. Even when he was getting more minutes under Jose Mourinho, he was always sort of the guy who did the dirty work. He was always asked to play a bit everywhere in the middle of the pitch, just doing the dirty assignments that the likes of Lorenzo Pellegrini, Paulo Dybala, but also Leandro Paredes wouldn't take care of. And that's why I think in the Premier League, where the tempo is higher, where the teams are way more offensive, I think that could really be a major step for him, as in he would learn to see the frame of the goal. He would learn to take more shots. That is something I think that has not been explored with him at Roma. He's always been held back. never was a prolific scorer for Roma in these 3 years with the first team. I think last year he scored maybe 1 goal in all competitions, had a bunch of assists, but he's capable of it, and you can see it. He makes the runs in, he cuts inside, he makes the right decisions. It's just that at Roma, the attention was put on more offensive-minded players with arguably better technical skills, such as Paulo Dybala or Lorenzo Pellegrini.
You, you might be more clued up on this than I am, to be fair, Andy. But in the obviously, UEFA have got this rule about signing players when the owner is essentially the same from both teams. Manchester United are having issues at the minute.
Yes.
With Nice to talk about Jean-Claire Todibo.
Todibo, yeah.
Can this even happen?
Well, I think it can happen down the road, but that's happening because Manchester United and Nice are going to be playing in the same European competition. I think that's something that right now is taking a lot of, there's a lot of attention on that decision from UEFA. I don't think this is going to be something that goes down smoothly with a lot of clubs, because again, as I told you last time I was on, it was all about, the fact that football is changing. You can argue whether it's changing for the better or worse, but this thing of clubs being owned by the same group, it's going to become the new normal. Let's face it. It's just going to be like that. I do not think that this decision about Manchester United not being able to get a deal done for Todibo will go down smoothly. I think there's going to be quite an uproar about this from club owners. And let's remember, I think Roma and Everton right now are in such different stages of development. Everton still have to get back to Europe. Roma, in the meantime, are desperate to get back to Champions League. So, we're talking like last episode. There are fundamental differences, and yet both clubs are very much in different positions with regards to where they want to be. Can it be a problem in the future? Well, if UEFA keep the same rule and Roma again fail to qualify for Champions League, end up in Europa League, you guys make an unbelievable run after missing out on Europe for so long, and you get back into Europa League, yeah, maybe then we have a problem. But I still think that this is going to get sorted out. I do not believe that this can be a long-term obstacle. There's just too much power, too much money, too much influence among these big groups that an organization like UEFA will not be able to stand the pressure, I think.
The one that it surprised me that this hadn't happened already is the fact that Red Bull own about 5 or 6 different football teams in various guises. And that's why it surprised me that it's only now sort of coming to a head. I suppose it would be only right in asking, news keeps coming out about Dan Friedkin with other clubs. I think there was I think he's agreed to give £4.5 million to, is it Cannes who he bought?
Can.
Who he bought, so which is something like triple their current budget or whatever it is. What's going on at Roma? Is he investing? I know you said he was talking about younger players and spending less than he has done, but what's the initial thoughts on the transfer window?
Well, listen, the initial thoughts in the transfer window are the thoughts of a fan who realizes that the team disappointed greatly in the past season and that there has to be sort of almost like a revolution. At Roma, we always talk about revolution, but I think in this summer, it's going to get quite hectic on our training grounds in terms of who goes and who comes, because the team underachieved, and the Friedkins right now have turned to a different direction. At the same time, we are being linked to Mats Hummels, who's a
Yeah.
free agent after reaching the Champions League final with Borussia Dortmund. That's not a player that you get if you just want to focus on young players. That's a 35-year-old veteran coming off quite a brilliant year with Borussia. Still, those are signs that there is an ambition to be better, to be bigger, to attract this kind of talent. It's true. With the Can thing is bizarre. It's a fourth division team that will have like a budget of, I think it's a big, the 4.5 million. It's almost like a bigger budget than some of the bottom level teams in Serie A. So in Italy's top flight. Now that's a fourth division team in France. What does that mean for Roma? Well, Roma, they operate differently because, again, Roma operate under financial fair play. And once the acquisition for Everton comes in, we'll have to see if UEFA will be more lenient towards this new ownership, right? Usually when a new owner comes in, the first transfer window there's less pressure from UEFA. You're allowed to spend more. I'm curious to see what happens with Everton. And again, as we briefly touched upon on our conversation before recording, this thing with Bove, the sort of today in the media, for example, in an Italian newspaper speculated that this partnership between Roma and Everton could also very much be based on exactly this exchange of younger players. So from the Everton Academy to Roma, from Roma Academy to Everton, in a sort of synergy to help each other out. Now, again, you have to wonder, where's the how will UEFA react to this? Where's the line when it's right, when it's not right? But I think this is the reality we live in. This is the reality of two clubs that have struggled for quite a bit of time, financially, also in terms of competitiveness. The Friedkins, they're not fans. They're, at the end of the day, they're businessmen. They're trying to also get the money back. But I think at the core of it, there is also an interest to pick up the team that is considered by everybody, a pushover or an underdog, and get them back on their feet. Because otherwise, I really can't explain myself the acquisition of both Roma and Everton at the same time. It's sort of like this wonderful tale of David versus Goliath. As I said last time, with Everton, you look at the table of the Premier League, you got like 8 teams that are practically untouchable in England, and clubs like Everton have to go up against that. With Roma, we have the likes of Juve, Inter, Milan. Those are the 3 untouchables, and so it's the underdog story.
Andy, thank you ever so much for your time as always, my friend. Really appreciate it, guys.
Thank you, Mike.
You can find him on all the links in the description. Roma Press. Go on Google. It's all there. The guys there, the whole team are fantastic. So make sure you go and support them. And Andy, I'll see you soon. So hoping for an England win tonight. So we'll see. Yeah.
Thank you, Mike.
No worries at all. See you soon, guys.